Biggest terror threat in this country is white men.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
I see what one has to do with the other, especially consider and using the Civil War to talk about black Americans. That war was not fought for black people to have guns. That's not.
That war was fought for black people to have freedoms in this country.
Yeah.
Actually, that's why the Civil War was fought.
Okay.
And the sad
that
part about
wasn't fought for black people to have guns. I think.
Actually, you know, funny fact is, black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Still aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. And I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. But we're not. You mentioned in here that we have 3 different shades
Don,
of
I think we have to be able to
here.
talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin. Black Americans today, to say that, compare that to 1865 and 1964,
I think for you to compare it to 1865 and 1964 is actually, I think it's insulting to black people. It's insulting to me as an African American. I don't want to sit here and argue with you because it's infuriating for you to put those things together. It's not right. Your telling of history is wrong. What
part of the history was wrong?
What part of the history was wrong? That the Civil War was fought. You're making people think that the Civil War was fought for black people, only for black people to get guns and for black people to have.
The Civil War was fought for black people in this country to get freedoms, a noble mission. And I think that even after we succeeded, we had to actually secure those freedoms.
To reduce it in a speech at the NRA to say you're making people think, or you're trying to say that black people to get guns, that was the reason that you're there at the NRA. That was the reason for the Civil War.
It is a
fact. That's reductive.
It's not
and
reductive,
I think it's
Don.
insulting. There are a whole plethora of reasons that for the Civil War.
With due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was part of what secured
hang on,
that
please.
freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on one second. So to say that black people, say what you said again.
Black people secured their freedoms after the Civil War. It is a historical fact, Don. Just study it. Only after their Second Amendment rights were secured.
They were not secured their freedoms after the Civil War. That is not. You are discounting Reconstruction. You're discounting a whole host of things that happened after the Civil War when it comes to African Americans, including the whole reason that the Civil Rights Movement happened is because black people did not secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. People tried to change the freedoms that were supposed to happen.
And you know how they got it?
They
got their Second Amendment rights, and they actually got the NRA played a big role in that. But today, Don, the
NRA did not play a big role in that.
They trained black Americans how to use firearms.
That's a lie. That's not. The NRA did not play a big role in that.
This is just historical fact. But Don, the part that I find,
because you say it's historical fact,
the part that I find insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have
the
a different point of view.
Black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
I find it offensive that Don Lemon will use his black skin, which is not very black. Let's just be honest, right? He's very. My wall is almost as black as he is. All right. But I find it offensive that he's going to use his skin color to make an argument and basically tell Vivek Ramaswamy, an Indian American who's darker than Don Lemon is, again, Don Lemon's about as white as my wall, that he has no basis as to what he's talking about. My biggest reason as to why I'm offended by what Don Lemon says, whenever Don Lemon says anything about white people especially.
So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
Is because of this.
Longtime newsman Don Lemon is married. The former CNN anchor ties the knot with longtime partner Tim Malone in New York City, April 6th. It was also Tim's 40th birthday.
Don Lemon, if you were so proud of being black, you would have married a black person. If you were so proud about being black, you would have procreated more black kids. I know a lot of gay men who've had heterosexual marriages and had children, right? Multiple children. And look, some of y'all may not believe me, but it's 100% true, okay? There are a lot of old men, and they're old men now, right? A lot of them live here in Palm Springs.
An aspic?
Orally.
Orally? How do you take an aspic orally?
You just take the Jello and put it in your mouth.
Is he serious?
I think he is. I think he is. Let him keep talking.
Oh my gosh!
Is an ass pick a tool you use to
put in your
clean your
mouth?
crack?
I cannot believe. Can you believe this? Oh my goodness! Oh my! Now do you get it?
Yeah.
I thought aspic was. I thought.
I got it before.
What's Robert?
an ass pick?
You're kidding, aren't you?
No. An
A
ass
picture
pick
of
is
your
the-
behind.
Do you have an ass pic?
ass pick. Oh, I didn't get it until now.
Oh, you serious? I guess there is an old gay section. Oh my God, I don't believe it. I thought you were joking.
They used to live in, like, you know, Michigan and New York and, you know, other states. But they decided, you know, to talk to their wives, you know, hey, this is how I really feel inside. You know, all that stuff that y'all talk about. And then their wives, they agree, like, hey, you know, you gotta live your best life. And then there's a divorce that happens and so on and so forth. Kids are all grown up. Grandkids are all, you know, are raised and whatnot. And then, you know, again, you have grown gay men living their best lives. I'm just saying. I don't know. I just find it offensive that you will sit there and marry a white person, not procreate, but you're going to talk about how you're pro-black. That makes zero sense to me. But again, that's just me. All right, look, at the end of the day, I don't care who you side with come November, whether it's Biden, whether it's Trump, so on and so forth. I don't care. All right, I'm not going to try to persuade you either or.
In case you haven't heard, Joe Biden has dropped out of the presidential race. He dropped out! He dropped out!
You already know my view. You're going to have your own view. Don't get tied in. Don't get trapped in by these race baiters, especially when they're hypocrites. Don't get trapped into their hypocrisies. All right? If the greatest threat to this country is white men, why did you marry a white man? Same with Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is half Jamaican, half Indian. They say that she's the first African-American female or woman vice president and the first Asian American vice president. At the end of the day, just like Don Lemon, she's about as white as my wall, my ceiling. And her husband, white as can be, but then she's going to make this awful comparison to Trump's now running mate, J.D. Vance.
Shortly after President Trump announced that J.D. Vance would be his running mate in this election, Kamala Harris put out this scathing warning to the American people saying, make no mistake, J.D. Vance will be loyal only to Trump and not to our country. The audacity of Kamala Harris to make this statement is off the charts. J.D. Vance is someone who enlisted in the Marine Corps. He deployed to Iraq in 2005, the same year that I was there. During the height of the war, putting his life on the line in service to our country. Was Kamala Harris willing to put her own life on the line in service to our country at any time in the past or now? No, she hasn't, and she isn't. Kamala Harris's hypocrisy continues.
Playing identity politics and trying to make y'all feel like you are less than because this is what they're playing, but then they go and live happily married lives with white people. It's your boy King Churro. Thank you for watching. Remember that you're loved, and remember to be great every day because tomorrow is never promised. Love y'all. Peace out.
Every day you wake up, you got a decision to make. To go right or left, up or down, right or wrong. At the end of the day, you make the decision. Nobody forces you. So make the right decision. Make moves, set the goal. Stop making excuses, man. And if it look like a duck, walk like a duck, and sound like a duck, it's a duck. Stop guessing. Just do the right thing. You heard? You hear me? I love y'all. Stay positive. Love one another.
All right.
This is a quick video for you token black people and you clowns that call yourselves Latinos for Trump. Did you see what your boy did? No. See what your orange Jesus did to you? You guys are just useful idiots for the Republican Party, and you're humping for Trump. You see what he did to you, right? He picked the whitest white dude possible. He didn't even pick Marco Rubio, the sycophant Cuban. You know, Cubans are pretty much the only Latino dumb enough to vote for Trump. Because you know why? Because you get the wet foot, dry foot policy that Reagan instituted. That's why you boys, you folks, jump on that hump Trump wagon, that hump Trump train. But you see what he did, right? He screwed you people over. He spit in your face. Trump is a racist. He don't give a shit about you. You ain't nothing but the white man's dog, to quote Denzel Washington. Wake up. Wake up. You're going to vote for the racist party. It's not the party of Lincoln anymore.
So let me get this straight. This guy just went on a racist rant towards Latino conservatives and black conservatives, but at the same time try to say that the conservative side is racist? How does that make any sense? And this is what I've been trying to tell my people who side with the left on how white liberals and how they feel about you. If you ever dare to disagree or go the other way, he just called us dogs and he called Cubans stupid for voting conservative.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
But yet the conservative side is racist.